In just a few months, Ryan Garcia changed the way he talked from this.
I didn't even let the insecurities of, I can't believe I got dropped, or the fear of embarrassment, none of that got to me in that moment.
To speaking like this.
I even told him, you'll be back. Remember, he was all, don't ever talk to me again, blah, blah, blah. I said, you'll be back, Mr. 30K pay-per-view boss.
Is it booze, white Colombian powder, or something else Ryan is dealing with? We will tell in this video. Since he started fighting professionally, he's been the face of the lighter weight divisions. This is because he became famous online early on and was known by a lot of people, not just boxing fans. He used to be very good, but recently he has changed a lot. In his talks, he shows signs of drinking or using drugs because he stutters and can barely put two words together. What changed his behavior all of a sudden, and did what happened in the last 10 months have anything to do with it? Ryan has been very much in the news lately, pretending to be kidnapped and telling Andrew Tate that he had seen terrible things he never wanted to see. Clearly, something has not changed for the better. Although Ryan is only 25, he has been fighting since he was very young. Some people wonder if his long time in the sport has caught up with him. He was supposed to meet Gervonta Davis at 136 pounds in April 2023. That's when everything began. Both boxers had never lost before this, and they were two of the biggest draws in the sport. There was a big problem in boxing at this time. The best fighters were avoiding each other and sparring with less skilled opponents so as not to risk their perfect records. A lot of fight fans quit the sport because they weren't getting what they wanted with the rise of the UFC and the politics in boxing.
With this fight, like I said, it's going to determine where boxing needs to be headed. This right here is going to determine either fighters are going to fight right now and get to it or not.
In the weeks leading up to their fight, Garcia brought up these issues and said he agreed to the fight to bring attention back to the sport, even though Davis's team had put a lot of restrictions on him. Davis gave him a rehydration rule that said he couldn't gain more than 10 pounds between the weigh-in and the fight night. This was a big no-no before the fight. So he wouldn't be giving the match his all because he was still tired. Still, the fight was supposed to be one of the biggest in recent boxing history, and both athletes made it. Even though Garcia brought the fight to Davis, Davis easily beat Garcia in the boxing. He only won 2 rounds and was knocked out in the second. In the 7th round, Davis hit him with a gut shot that stopped Garcia's body from working, and he didn't get back to normal before the 10-second count. Unfortunately, the fight was a big success. They sold $1.2 million $85 pay-per-views, which made Garcia about $30 million. Because of this, it's safe to say that everyone won. But it's a good thing that this was the height of his career, because after this, things went badly. Garcia's relationship with Golden Boy Promotion began to fall apart after he lost by knockout. They got into a legal fight together. He has been arguing with the company's founder Oscar De La Hoya about legal issues and says that De La Hoya is disrespecting Garcia's career and only being around him for the money. The problem started when Garcia couldn't accept that he lost to Tank and started blaming other people. Garcia used the press meeting to say bad things about De La Hoya and Bernard Hopkins right before his next fight against Oscar Duarte.
One thing that's been on my heart is the statements that Bernard made, where he'll decide if I'm going to finish or if I should continue boxing after this fight. He don't decide that. You know, Oscar's saying that, you know, we misinterpret, you know, what they say. It's plain English. I didn't hear anybody speaking any language I don't know. So, you know, it's very clear to me that, you know, they're backing this guy to beat me just like they thought Duno was going to beat me. He was the next Filipino star. They saying he's the next Mexican star.
After that, De La Hoya was asked to tell his side of the story.
Bernard stated that if it was him, he didn't say, well, this is what Ryan should do. So when you're dealing with kids, it's really hard to get across that message. And, you know, then you have Ryan saying this and that. So it's all BS.
Both sides were partly to blame for what happened, and things got very messy between them. To make things better, Garcia got his win back by TKOing Duarte in round 8. But just when everyone thought things were getting better for him, he showed up on the PBD podcast, fooling everyone. His speech and behavior changed quickly, and this was the first interview we'd seen him do since the last fight.
I brought the energy to the gym. When I come in the gym, everybody's having a great time, and we're all working hard. I'm like a brother. I'm brotherhood.
First, people noticed that his face looked different. It looked like it was getting bigger and puffier. This could be because they've gained weight. but it could also mean they drink too much, since drinking too much often makes people hold onto water around their faces. When we look at his older talks, he usually seemed calm and thoughtful while he spoke. In this case, though, he seemed nervous the whole time, often straying from the subject and cutting Patrick off in the middle of a sentence or answering a question on the phone. Another change that was easy to hear was in his voice. It went from having a somewhat high pitch.
Like, I wasn't afraid of the moment because I knew that's in me. And it's always going to be in me.
To sounding like he had been smoking and drinking a lot for a long time.
It was a beautiful thing. And Mayweather is so super good at it.
People also noticed that he wasn't aware that he was constantly chewing on the mic, which seemed strange since he was a professional boxer. Some might say that this behavior was only shown on one podcast, but he did the same thing on the Helwani show a month later. Thoughts and comments made it clear that people were there to laugh at him and expected him to say odd things. Examples of these comments include, a lot of people have thought about whether he is drunk or on stronger drugs. He has said more than once that he likes smoking weed and drinking sometimes, but he has never said that he takes stronger drugs. On the other hand, his actions and facial reactions make it possible to think that something else is going on. When he was on The Impulsive and The Bradley Martin Show 10 months earlier, none of these signs were there. He looked a lot younger, and his face didn't look swollen. His voice tone and body language also reminded me of a skilled athlete. Ryan has been accused of drinking and using drugs, but there is also a problem with his gambling addiction. Recently, well-known influencer Bryce Hall said in public that he was heavily in debt from gambling and being used as a fish in high-stakes games.
I know about the poker games that he's losing millions of dollars at because I've played at some of those games and they tell me how much of a fucking fish he is. Basically, he just throws money. He's like an idiot.
So hey, I will verify that by Bryce. I've got a lot of buddies at the top level of the poker games that run through Cali and Vegas, and he's definitely a fucking fish that loses a lot of money at the poker tables.
It's really weird how he took a 2-year hiatus from boxing, and then now randomly he's like, oh, I won all these money fights. Oh, yeah. Because he's losing all of his money at these poker tables.
He often talks about how much money he expects to make from upcoming fights instead of focused on winning in the ring, so this accusation might not be completely false. Many MMA fighters switch to boxing to make more money with their UFC fame, but Garcia wants to stay in MMA and fight the bantamweight champion, who is known for his hitting.
I'll beat his ass in MMA, guaranteed.
In MMA?
Yeah, I'm a natural. You don't understand. I'm a natural wrestler. I just beat my security that's a wrestler. I beat him. Yeah. I know I'm gonna knock him out in boxing. That's not even fair. What is fair is to test myself in MMA because I know if I put my mind to it and I trained every day and I had Nate helping me, even Alex Pereira, all of them, and I really locked in, he will not beat me. I've already got people that are connected to Dana to ask him, let's do this. I'll come to UFC, pay me a bag, I'm there.
Some people think Ryan is setting himself too high of a goal, since MMA strikers have skills other than boxing. In response, O'Malley and his teacher did a funny skit making fun of Garcia and Oscar De La Hoya.
Ryan, we need money. We're in debt from betting, brother.
Oscar, I hear you fuck Sugar Sean up, honestly.
You could fight MMA. You could beat whoever you want. You could beat John Jones.
I seriously think I could wrestle.
Wrestle your security guard. Show him. Prove him. You're an athlete. You're a natural. You can do whatever, brother. Let's get it on. Hold on. Fuck, I'll fight Dana.
Dana, Oscar.
Yeah. Whoa! Let's go on Ariel's show, brother.
Yeah, I'm going to Ariel.
Said that Garcia's gambling bills were the reason he wanted to fight Devin Haney, even though he knew he had very little chance of winning. Even though many people didn't trust Garcia's skill, Haney also said that he smelled like alcohol during their fight.
Ryan was at the motherfucking press conference drunk as a skunk. Hopefully, he get it together before April 20th. And I'm gonna have him punch drunk on that day.
Since they've been on a press tour to market their fight, it's clear that Garcia may be becoming more comfortable with his new image.
I promise you, I'm coming straight for you. It's gonna be ugly. It's gonna be ugly. I'm talking about ugly.
Even though he was acting crazy on the media tour, he has been busy on Twitter, where his recent strange behavior has made people wonder if he is ready to fight.
And just to be really direct.
What the fuck happened to your voice?
So, at the end of the day, I've been screaming for these promos, but I'm not even gonna react. At the end of the day, I want to clarify some things.
Stop the coke, nigga. It's fucking up your voice.
I want to clarify some things. I don't do cocaine. I would do a live drug test.
What do you do?
I would do a
What do you
live
do?
drug test.
What do you do?
I drink and I smoke weed, and so has the majority of this room.
I'm real. I'm like this. I do drink. I do smoke. Now what? It's okay. Guess what? We all have our flaws, and we all evolve as people. Look at, I'm 25 years old. You gotta remember, the weight of the world sometimes feels like it's on my shoulders. I don't know how many people have been 25 years old and made $100 million in their life and can do whatever they want. I want to see what you would do in my shoes. Probably a lot more than some weed.
But people also were surprised when he knocked down Mr. Haney,